Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity and government.
Right.
Now I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop it, starting in about 1996, the Battle of Armageddon will become a reality.
He laid out the blueprint for everything we're seeing today. He knew why it had to happen, he knew who was behind the curtain, and he knew what we should expect next.
Read the book of Revelations, whether you believe in the book or not. Read it, because the men who are bringing this about are using it as their script.
This interview was recorded in 1992, and as you listen, you'll understand why his blueprint still matters today. Because he said it would all unfold exactly like this, down to the smallest detail of the script.
And I get people who still come to me all the time and say, Bill, you're all wrong, it's the Jews. The Jews are subverting the world. Man, it's not the Jews, it's not the Catholics, it's not the blacks. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret and decide the fate of the world. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret, it's a different story.
He claimed the fate of billions rests in the hands of a small group of people. And their strategy, he said, is simple. Keep us watching the circus so we never look behind the curtain.
At the highest levels of all countries, they all belong to the same club. And we, the people, sit back and we watch this grand drama which is being played out for our benefit, not theirs. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even have to do any of this. But you see, they just can't come out and destroy all of us because they need slaves. They need people to make their shoes and make their cars and mine the ore. They need worker bees, and that's what we are.
His name is Bill Cooper, and what you're about to hear is his warning to the world. He believed that if you don't spare the time to hear this message to the end, if you don't make the effort to understand it and finally wake up, then you're participating in the Great Deception just as much as they are. His words, not mine.
George Orwell was just like me. He was a low-level member of British intelligence who was appointed to a position high enough where he saw the same documents that I saw. And he tried to warn the world just like I'm trying to warn the world, only he wasn't willing to take the risk that I'm willing to take. So he wrote it in a book called 1984 and spelled out exactly what's coming as a warning to the people of the world, as a work of fiction. But you notice that that work of fiction really stirred people up because they knew that it wasn't fiction. In their heart of hearts, everyone who's read that book knows that it's coming.
Here's what Orwell understood. Control doesn't happen overnight. First you distract, then you divide, then you rewrite the rules so people don't even know they're being controlled. 1984 showed us the final destination. A world where nothing is true and everything is permitted except for those in power. For decades, that was just fiction. But now, more and more of the pieces are fitting together. The scenarios that were once ridiculed are beginning to look like the morning news.
Why is it that you are here today, or how is it that you are here today and you're not, conveniently taken away and put in a padded cell somewhere so that you can't speak of these things?
I can tell you this, I began to reveal information in 1976, and I was physically attacked on 2 occasions. My skull was caved in, that's what all these scars are here. On the second attack, I lost my leg, they visited me in the hospital. They had no intention of killing me, they were delivering a message to me. Shut up. And that was the message that came through loud and clear. And 2 men who identified themselves with identification cards who belonged to the Defense Investigative Service, which is really the Defense Intelligence Agency, asked me if I was going to shut up or they were going to have to do it right. And I told him, I said, you don't have to worry about me. I'm going to be a good little boy for the rest of my life, and yeah, I'm going to shut my mouth. And I did for 16 years. Kept silent until I saw this.
You can talk conspiracies all day and people will just ridicule you, call you paranoid. But when you start talking about what you're not supposed to, that's when they come after you. At least that's what Bill said in the full interview. But now, he's starting to say things that really make you pause. Look at the pattern. Why does every piece connect? If it's all just coincidence, why does it keep happening? Listen to this.
Either these men are following the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is in the Bible. Mm-hmm. They're either following it, just like a plan, and bringing the prophecies in there to pass to manipulate and control those who believe in those prophecies and neutralize them, so to speak. In other words, if this is written in the Bible and God has ordained it, who am I to resist? It must come to pass, so I'm not going to try to stop it.
Okay.
What a perfect way to neutralize the opposition right off the bat. Or there really is a God, and what he said was going to come to pass is coming to pass. And I named this, Behold a Pale Horse, from chapter 13 of the book of Revelations. The fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth.
Now, look at the four horsemen. Revelation 6 describes white, red, black, and pale. The Greek word for pale is chloros, greenish, the color of death. Some point to the red horse, war, as already writing. The black horse comes next. Famine, collapse. The verse describes inflated prices, scarcity. Some suggest it could be approaching. Revelation 13 describes a world where no one can buy or sell without a mark. Today, central bank digital currencies are rolling out globally. Is it the mark? No one can say. But the technology described? It's being built. Whether you believe it or not, some in power clearly do. Commanders quote Revelation, leaders invoke scripture. Bill Cooper said they're following a script. Look at the pattern. Something is lining up.
Everything that's in my book, Behold a Pale Horse, is everything in here, all the documents that are in here, mm-hmm. Everything that's in this book is in the public domain.
Can be substantiated?
Yes, and I intentionally wrote this book, not using anything that wasn't available to the public, to show people that yes, if I can find this information, so can you. I have tons of stuff that's not available to the public. But as you can see by reading this book, you don't need that stuff because it's what you need is available to you. Public libraries are overflowing with the proof of what's really going on in the world, but nobody really utilizes it to the extent that they're able to pick this out and put it together. Another thing I've done for people is I've put it together for them so that they can see the overall picture, rather than looking at small things and thinking that it's isolated. Nothing is isolated. It's all part of a big puzzle.
Why is it that we can hear something this important and still forget it by tomorrow? Maybe we don't want to believe. Maybe we're scared. But I think it's something else. We're numb. Life grinds us down. Work, stress, the endless scroll, it all adds up. And then we turn on the news, hoping to understand. But instead we get noise, distortion, confusion. And that numbness, it becomes a habit, a survival mechanism. But what if that's exactly what some are counting on?
All the media in this country, radio, television, and print, is all owned by 5 corporations. All of these corporations that own the media are owned and controlled, and members of the Council on Foreign Relations sit on their board of directors. But you can trace that yourself.
Okay.
Remember, if you go down and you trace the ownership of a station or a newspaper, and you get to a corporation, remember that somebody owns that corporation, and it's usually another corporation. But when you trace the interlocking of all these things, when you get to the top, there's 5. And all journalists know that there's some things you don't write about and you don't talk about because you'll lose your job. And that's where the control is.
Let's try it, shall we? Pick a news network, any network. Let's start with CNN. On your phone, type, "Who owns CNN?" You'll see it's owned by Warner Brothers Discovery. Good. Now type, "Who owns Warner Brothers Discovery?" In 2026, that's changing. Warner Brothers Discovery just signed a deal to be acquired by Paramount for over $110 billion. Now type, "Who owns Paramount?" Paramount was bought last year by Skydance Media, and Skydance Media is led by David Ellison. Now type, "Who is David Ellison?" He's the son of Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, one of the richest men in the world. But keep going. Who runs CBS News? CBS is owned by Paramount, and the editor-in-chief of CBS News? Barry Weiss. She was appointed after the Skydance acquisition. Now here's the thing. Cooper said all media is owned by 5 corporations. That was decades ago. Today, the names change, but the pattern doesn't. You start with a news network, you end with a billionaire. And that billionaire, always connected to power. Try it yourself. Pick any network, any platform. Follow the chain, see where it ends. You might be surprised how fast you get to the same place. Let's continue, because this next part is about us.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
Juvenal, the Roman poet, said it almost 2,000 years ago. The people who once handed out military commands, high offices, everything, now restrains itself and anxiously hopes for just 2 things: bread and circuses. Bread and circuses. Today, the bread is your paycheck. The circus is the game. And while we're glued to the screen cheering for millionaires we've never met, the real decisions are being made somewhere else, by people we'll never see. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. History shows that a society obsessed with entertainment often becomes easier to control. As long as we're watching, we're not asking. As long as we're cheering, we're not challenging. And as long as we're numb, they stay in power.
But let me tell you something. When 150 of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it. But 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country. You have a reflection of the society in which that exists. And it is a sick, sick society that is doomed to self-destruction.
So based on that scenario, there's some truth into what these men are looking at.
Absolutely. And that's what makes me so sick, is that I'm trying to wake up a people who on a daily basis are proving the ones that I'm warning them about to be right.
Be honest. When was the last Davos meeting? And what exactly was proposed there? Most of us couldn't answer that because we don't care. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Netflix, we have our own lives, bills, work, relationships. Who has time to track what 150 powerful people discuss in a Swiss mountain town? And even if we watch a video about it, we forget it in seconds. The next scroll, the next notification, the next distraction. That's exactly what Cooper was talking about. While we're busy living our lives, decisions that affect our future are being made elsewhere. And most of us are simply too distracted to notice.
The right track is don't believe anybody. Don't believe me. Don't believe George Bush. Don't believe anyone. You got to go out and you got to get proof in your hand before you can believe anything. And to do otherwise today is the biggest mistake that anyone can ever make. You begin believing people, putting your trust in them, that they're telling you the truth. I guarantee you're going to take a ride on a roller coaster you don't want to be on.
Do your own research. Don't jump in the comments and ask, so what do we do now? I'm telling you, use your mind. Because even these videos, they're not here to feed you conspiracy theories. They're here to engage you, to wake something up. Critical thinking is the point. It's better to put your mind to work than to wait for information to be handed to you. Because what if all the information out there is wrong? What then? We have to go back to the roots, back to what we know is good, what we know is wrong. That inner compass, it's still there. We just stopped using it.
Now, do these people recognize the continuity of life? In other words, you have told me earlier that they're after physical immortality.
They believe that through their technology, man will become God. With the power of reason, through technology, man will himself become God. They will engineer, just like he wanted to do, the super race who will live forever. And the concept is the same, and the men behind it are the same as was.
Bill said more than 30 years ago that they would reach for immortality through technology. Back then, it probably sounded absurd. But now, look at what's happening. Neuralink has successfully implanted brain chips in multiple patients. One man used it to play chess just by thinking. Scientists at Harvard and MIT are working on age reversal technologies. Clinical trials are underway for drugs that could add decades to human life. The CEO of OpenAI said recently that we might achieve human-level AI within a few years. And after that, merging human intelligence with machines is the next logical step. Whether you believe that or not, it's hard to ignore that we're moving in that direction faster than anyone predicted.
No matter what your religion is or what you think, they are following the scenario in the book of Revelations to a T, right down to the last little bit. If you want to know what's going to happen in the future, if we don't wake up, and through the power of those, see, not one drop of blood ever has to be spilled, and no one has to ever put any chains on their legs or their arms, ever. If people just wake up and exercise what was given to us in our Constitution, the power of the vote, while we still have that power.
So you say there is still a possibility for like one individual watching this tape to actually make a difference.
You better believe it.
How
Yes.
would that be so?
Well, number one, learn what the truth really is. Get away from the fantasy that you've been living. Educate other people, those you know, your family. Once that begins to happen, it spreads. And then if the people decide that they don't want what they have in store for us planned, just through the power of the vote, they can make this country and the world whatever they want it to be. Whatever they want it to be. And there are no limits on that, except to understand that you can never make everything all right, and you can never make everything all bad. Both must exist, and we must maintain a balance.
If you stayed until now, you're probably one of those who's awake. Or at least, you're willing to be. And that comes with a responsibility. Be responsible with your mind. Use critical thinking. Bill said it himself. Don't believe him. Don't believe us. Believe what you can prove, what you can verify. But you have to do the work. You have to research. You have to stay awake. Because if you stay awake, others around you might wake up too. And that's how things change. Now, Bill has a final message for us. So, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear.
by abdicating responsibility, by not walking in that divine state of grace, makes possible anyone meeting behind closed doors to bring about the world that they want. And the world that they want may not be the world that you want, or that I want, or that these people watching might want.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't participate, you can't complain. If you don't help cook the meal, you got no right to bitch about it. You got to sit down and eat what's put on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like that, then you should have been in the kitchen helping to prepare the meal, helping to plan it, helping to prepare it, helping to serve it. If you want to sit on your butt in the living room while somebody else prepares the meal for you and decides what it's going to be and puts it on the table, it's too late to say that's not what you wanted to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late to say it's not cooked the way you wanted it to cook.
Well, that's very simple to understand. And
That's right.
in
You
context.
got to eat it because you have to eat to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that anybody can understand the meaning behind that little story.